find yourself wondering, what's next? Where do you want to be? How do you get there? At Trias College, we specialize.
Good evening, YouTube. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Give me a minute here. First of all, I'd like to ask everybody joining the live, please put a like on the video. It helps the engagement. It helps the channel grow. There we go. It helps the channel grow. I appreciate it. I ask you when you come into my live, please be respectful. I was deep into toggling between 3 pieces of information last night. And while I do not mind, you know, having engagement in the chat, the kind of conversation that was happening in the chat was, you know, people are gonna continue to read this conversation on the chat long after. And if you want to deny that a person is being gang stalked, and you guys are here in the chat talking about like sexual stuff and making fun of people and doing the like, how are you supposed to? It's like, it's in broad daylight. But I mean, thank you. Thank you. Definitely verifies everything that people talk about with being gang stalked. But like grown men coming in a chat and talking about crazy stuff like that. Like, are you kidding me right now? You could have talked about everything in the world and you chose to take it there. I don't even blame some of you guys, because you guys are possessed, and that's part of the stuff that I talk about on this channel is the sexual demons are eating your brain. How do you come in a chat that's talking about spirituality and chakras, and this is what you guys are engaging in? And I'm like rereading the conversation of the video and I'm thinking to myself, wow, you must be proud, huh? And it's the same pages recycling. This is why I had to turn off my chats from before. Like, please. Wow. Adults conducting themselves like this is crazy. And the other people in the live are just sitting back and reading this. And you're doing this to an audience? Don't do that stuff in my chat. I'd like to ask the people moderating, kindly get that crap out of my, I shouldn't have to, but get it out of my chat. Thank you. People here are the epitome of disgusting. 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 Somebody's energy is like forever changed by just having experienced your level. If you think about this, no maturity has happened in your life. As an adult, at what point did you sit there and agree that you were gonna go in a chat and do something like that? Like, you were just even gonna take money from someone to do something like that. That's insane to me. That's insane to me. You know what? Gang stalking is like one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen, and it makes perfect sense that there are lower entities involved in this kind of stuff. Block that one. Jongle Krongle, block him. Like, in general, from my page altogether, not just banned for 24 hours, just block it and remove this stupid comment. It makes sense that for me, this has to do with lower entities. It makes sense because there has to be another explanation as to why adults would behave in the way that they behave. And there, you know, the thing is, there are a lot of people walking around who they don't believe in entities, and they don't believe in spirituality. They have no faith, they have no God. But it's like, explain yourself, explain how this makes any sense. Like, I think to myself, and you know, I'm always trying to work through how it is that people come to make these agreements in the first place. Like, how long does it take? You know, and for me, you know, and I talked about this last night, I'm like, maybe they get them to the point where they have to find that low vibration in you. They have to find the gossip in you. They have to find the immorality in you, the person who would agree to a little bit, and then just take advantage of it and maybe get you to this point where you can agree to. It doesn't matter if someone is deserving of this energy or not. For you to take your own energy and actively go pursue a person in this way, much less a person that you don't know at all, but for you to take your own energy and go pursue a person to persecute them in any way and for any reason is nuts to me. Give me a second, because this dishwasher is making a lot of noise. It's crazy to me. It's like, people really do not understand people don't understand the power of their own energy. People don't understand how much you can do for yourself and how much you can accomplish by minding your own business. People really don't understand that. And I don't think it's laziness. I think it's just like lack of focus. I think it's lack of self-belief. I think if somebody knew for a fact something was guaranteed, for example, you look at gang stalking and someone says, if you do this, you're going to get paid. So you go out and you go do this. If people thought, well, building a business, building a brand, building a life, if I just do this, guaranteed that I could be successful, I think they would take their time and they would do it. So I don't think it's necessarily laziness, because people take their energy and they do a lot of stupid crap with it. I really think it just boils down to people having no faith and belief in themselves, or God knows what. I'm not even going to try to diagnose it because I cannot relate. I cannot understand it. But for someone taking their own energy to come in, and you could have talked about everything. I'm not even complaining with what people said about my features. Somebody can come in here and say they don't believe in what I believe in. I had no issues with people talking about, oh, crystals are satanic. I have no issues with any of the above. Knock yourself out, because I expect this behavior. But the sexual stuff, like, of all the places you could take it, it's embarrassing. It's mortifying. It's mortifying to think that as soon as you go live on a small channel, here comes an adult, not a child, not a teen, an adult, that's going to come into somebody's life to distract them, to make them lose focus, but most of all, to make an ass of themselves. This can't be what you envisioned when you were 6 years old and the teacher asked you to draw a picture of what you're going to do when you grow up. This can't be it. This is a losing energy. You're going to die like this. And either people know or they don't know that these people have you by the soul. They have you on a soul level. They don't just, it's like, imagine if you found out that in this lifetime, you were supposed to be a multi-millionaire who invented, you know, a rocket ship. Elon Musk couldn't do it, but you would have invented it. And instead, there was a psychic or a medium somewhere who read your energy saw how abundant your future was, harvested you for that, sacrificed you for that, and put you in a cycle of being a gang stalker trapped where you can't move. People have to come in here and they have to do this kind of stuff. They have to come in here and they have to talk like this and do this kind of stuff and have this kind of energy. They have to do it because they're stuck. It's a cycle that they can't break. And what gang stalkers don't understand is they've stolen your destiny. They've stolen your star. You want to know what that is? Google it. That means they have you binded up in the spirit where you cannot move. You cannot break out of it. You cannot leave spiritually. So the people who come in the chat and they take them out of the chat quickly when you start talking about real stuff because they don't want these people to actually know the truth. So you have to say to yourself, okay, what am I, like a year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4 gang stalker? And they're paying me peanuts on the dollar to come up on here and do this kind of stuff and distract people? What year am I in my gang stalking? At what point do I know that I can't leave? At what point do I know that I'm stuck? Let me tell you a little story. There is a man in my city, a witch doctor, who's very greedy and who always wants to outsmart other people. And we have a saying that when you're too smart, you outsmart yourself. So this greedy individual meets a soulless, heartless woman who puts him in a situation, encourages him to be in the same situation that she's in because she's already stuck. Her future's already done. They already harvested hers. So she doesn't see the problem with him coming and resting in place with her. So she presents him something like, why don't you come in? You have this gang stalking company right now. Why don't you come work for us where we bind your soul and you could never leave? Why don't you bring yourself and your people, your gang over here? And thought, this is perfect because they could bring me in. They could bring me in. So now, the witch doctor with the gang stalking company, well, it used to be a company. It's in shambles now. Everybody who helped him, all the gang stalkers along with them, are all in their soul tie contracts, binded up to an organization that functions like it's above the law. Because they wanted to do that to me. This is what happens when you eat past the point of being hungry. Your plate's full. You already have the police in pocket. You already have so much going on for yourself. And you can't finish what's on your platter because you eat off of a pig trough. Now you saw somebody else over there, you want theirs too, and so now you can't even focus. You're looking both sides, hungry, never full. Now they done trapped you up, you're binded up, you can't go nowhere. Everything they took from you, is it sinking in? Is it making sense yet? You're telling me, smarty pants, size 47 smarty pants, hasn't figured it out yet? That as soon as you got into this situation, you lose your business, you lose your marriage, you lose your home and your stability, you lose your mind. They just put a straw in the top of your head? Huh? This is why I don't talk. And I let everybody be the smarter one. Because everybody is the smart one. Everybody thinks somebody else is their victim. Everybody thinks they're getting over on somebody else. When are people going to start living decent lives? Oh, karma's not real. All we have to do is we have to find somebody else and exchange energy and do this and take their destiny and take their soul and da 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 da. There's always some complicated way of doing everything. How about just being a good person? Nah, that sounds too, no. That doesn't make any sense. There's nothing wrong with being a good person. The only good people that are taken advantage of, get rid of that crap. The only people that are taken advantage of is good people with no boundaries. Good people who don't understand. Safi, don't just delete it. Block them. You have to block them from the channel. Remove them from the channel. The only good people that are taken advantage of is good people with no boundaries. Otherwise, there's nothing wrong with being a good person. As a matter of fact, that's how you get your blessings. As a matter of fact, that's how you stay on the right path. That's how you maintain what is yours. That's how you, and it's all interconnected, and it doesn't matter if anybody can break it down point by point and explain to you why being a good person is the way to go. It's actually just what you should be doing. People think karma is not real, and in my personal opinion, the longer it takes for karma to come around, the more aggressive the energy comes back. Because to me, it's like, if you can get your hands slapped immediately when you do something stupid, then at least you know it's over and done with. At least you know you got your repercussions for whatever you did. Excuse me, you're going on with something crazy 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's gonna be nuts. And we all see it. We all see these crazy stories of this person who's been doing this for 20 years, this Ponzi scheme, this, that, and the third. We all see it. We all know about it. It's ridiculous. People are out of their minds. So just before I came on here, I just got thoroughly triggered by some, it's like, and I know this to be true because I remember this guy knew that I knew that he knew that everybody knew what he was doing. And I got rid of him out of my life, ghosted him. And he came back to my store when nothing was working. He showed back up to my store, shameless, showed back up because he needed to make contact again to finish his sacrificial work, which was not going to work remotely. And nothing was working from there. And they're talking about, oh, this person's desperate to come in your energy. And I'm like, biggest mistake of all. Don't even think about that. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. If I even run into you on the street, I'm calling 911 and I'm screaming like a rape victim. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Let sleeping dogs lie. Don't fantasize about it. Don't even think about it in your head. Because my ancestors are not even going to let that be possible. My ancestors are not even going to let that be possible. For that type of energy to come anywhere near me. Don't even think about it. And as a matter of fact, just because people are even thinking about it, I'm going to put up prayers in advance of people getting too desperate out here. Somebody out here went and made a deal to take my life for money. They went and made a deal, and it was just supposed to be very simple. It was just literally supposed to be, we're gonna gang stalk this person and get them away from this other person. And then they got greedy and then they wanted to do a little bit too much. And now, look at the situation. Look at how bad it is. This person has lost everything and they want to blame everybody but their own actions. Even the people in here, they just think, oh, we're just bothering this girl. The cartel wants my head. Why are you people in this chat? Why do you want to be in the middle of this kind of nonsense? This is how $50, $100, or whatever it is that people are being paid. The original group of gang stalkers who were in my chat evacuated and didn't want to be a part of it. And here comes fresh meat for the grinder. They just keep finding them and throwing them in the cesspit, doing this kind of work. Do you guys, if people only knew the level of witchcraft, the levels, there's levels to witchcraft. If they knew the levels of witchcraft that these people are doing, they wouldn't even be in here for nefarious purposes. The witch doctor, with all the connections, with the police in pocket, the chief gang stalker, in all the societies, the chief gang stalker is in hiding on the run. My God is a real God. And people are going to start understanding. You see, this is what some people would probably say, like, wait, how comes all of this is going on and like you're so calm and like you seem so relaxed and all of this? Why would, as a matter of fact, that what makes me nervous is people that don't take God seriously. I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy, and I think people are out of their mind. God? Spirit does not care about your bullets, your money, your connections, the government, none of the above. Like, you're talking about energy here. This is the beginning. It is the beginning of the end for people in my city. It is just the beginning. Has the journey been rough of your karma? Has it taken so long? Yes, that was nothing. 2023, I've been saying, has been child's play. 2023 was a joke. The death threats you were getting in 2023 was a joke. I knew this man was under death threats. I would feel it. Every time he got one of those calls, he'd start sending me all the energy and then he'd get very aggressive. Hasn't slept in a year. Doesn't care about those kids that he made at all. Somebody's trapped in their body. They're drowning in their body. Oh, you don't know what it feels like. Actually, you gang stalked me. So maybe I don't know what it feels like for the death threats and actually feeling like my life is in danger, like I'm not going to wake up tomorrow. So yeah, that's called a times 10 backfire, possibly. I don't know. Police have your name, no protection from anything. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong, and everything you do is happening to you. You hack people's devices. You watch what people do. You see every step someone takes. So what do you think has been happening to you if you follow the logic of the rest of what was going on? You're sitting here scheming on someone's life. So what do you think is happening to you? You took somebody's destiny. Maybe that was the plan. Maybe somebody's destiny was to be living the way you're living, on the run from these people, terrified for their life. Congratulations. You played yourself again. Don't even come in my energy at all. I swear to God, it's gonna, if you think it's bad right now, it'll go from bad to worse. Do not even get no ideas. This right here, wrong turn, it's not even bad. It's a nightmare. This is your worst nightmare. This, you don't want to run back to the nightmare. Don't trigger me because I'm at peace. Huh? Don't we like when I'm calm? We like when I'm quiet. We like when I'm calm. Don't trigger me. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. Stop thinking about it, because when you think about it, it's in the atmosphere. People pick up on it. And to me, if I pick up on it, that's the same as it happening. So don't piss me off. Don't come in my energy ever again. Done for life. Done for life. This is your last life. Done. Endure your karma. This is a new story. This is a new story. This is a new reality. Because somebody had to do it. People have just been enduring gang stalking for how long? If you go and you search gang stalking, videos are coming up of like more than 10 years. Like, you mean people have been sitting in this nightmare for this long and they don't know what it feels like? The chief gang stalkers, the ones on the street that follow people, them and their families, the little babies that we teach to gang stalk. They don't know what it feels like to be a victim of this craziness, do they? They don't know what it feels like to look over their shoulders. They don't know what energy work feels like. So everything is ha 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 with the stupid face. Everybody gang stalking is gonna know what it feels like, because not everybody's putting up with this crap. Then they try to pile up on you, get freaking 100 witches working on you at the same time, night and day, every minute of every day in a 24-hour day for a year straight. And now they're like, I'm impressed you're still alive. Don't have no destiny, no future, no hope, no life in your body. Haven't slept in a year. Can't pick up your phone. Don't know who to call. Now you want to come in whose energy? You want to run into who? Calling from fake numbers, scared to say anything. Mad. What's this? Blame Daisy and yourself. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. Was I there? Telling other people that people have HIV and you're the only one with HIV, or you and the rest of them in Toronto. Let me tell you how crazy this is. In my city, there's posts on Instagram exposing people for having HIV. So there's a little epidemic flowing in there. Imagine that. How many people did they probably accuse of the same thing? Oh, okay. Nobody takes life seriously, eh? Let me tell you how this karma thing works. In case you're thinking, well, I just did this, or I just did that, or I just did this little thing. I didn't do anything crazy. You hold hands when you get involved in other people's personal stuff that has nothing to do with you. And their personal stuff that you have no idea how deep it is, how bad it is, of what you're doing to someone, because you're standing on the street and you think it's funny because when you approach them or you walk, they run and they're acting like they're freaked out, and you don't go home and you don't ask yourself, like, how comes this person's behaving like that? What's going on here that these people are not telling me about? So now, for just doing that one thing, you're realizing nothing in your life is working anymore. Everything's kind of falling apart. For that one thing, and you're like, wait, this is kind of harsh for just the participation that I was just laughing. Yeah, because you're holding hands with all the other crazy stuff that they do. But let me tell you what's even worse about that is they understand karma and they understand that that's how it works. And that's why you're even involved in the first place. Because you can carry some of that karma so they could continue on for tomorrow and maybe not wake up in a bad mood, not wake up with anxiety, not wake up with things falling apart. It all sounds so funny. It sounds so funny. It sounds so fluffy when you read it on social media or when someone talks about it. It doesn't sound so great when you're sitting in anxiety in your house and you don't know what you're going to do. See, in my city, people don't know how they're going to pay their mortgages. They were promised a lot of money to gang stalk me, and that money's not coming through. But they already went and bought the nice houses because they've done this before. So what does this look like? Well, let's say we used to do some gang stalking for company A and company B and person A and person B. And let's say it used to cost, you know, $15,000 to gang stalk somebody for 6 months, maybe 60, I don't know. And a bunch of us had to split this. Well, this crazy organization here is saying that they're going to give us $1 million to do it. Because if we can successfully do this, girl, then we're in. Life is going to be plush. Beautiful. Destiny. What we've been working so hard for. We've been perfecting this thing. Possessing people. Taking over their vessel. Pushing them out of business, slandering covertly, bribing our way through, covering our tracks. We perfected this. We worked long and hard about this. And you're telling me the universe waited now with this kind of client? This is the time that it's not gonna work? That's how the karma works. That's how it works. Isn't that how destiny snatching works? You can't snatch a destiny too early. What is there to snatch? You gotta wait till they get the business, they develop it a certain place. You gotta keep checking the chart and checking the cards. When are they gonna get it? Like Layla Day in Toronto when she went on tour. And right when she goes on tour, that's when you snatch her star because she's already activated it. She's already started in on it. So everybody was salivating, licking their fingers. Lamborghinis in my neighborhood. Rolls Royce trucks. Cleaning ladies to clean the house. The foundation didn't set on the house. Let's put a pool in the back. Remember? Oh, but wait, we got the house and now we can't pay $12,000 of taxes on our fake business because we're juggling pennies. What's $12,000 to a gang stalking hacker? What's 12K to a hacker? My neighbor can't pay his bills, can't put curtains in the window, and we ask him, how comes you can't put curtains in the window? How comes you can't put curtains in the window? We're waiting for the $8,000 curtains that are automatic. So in the meantime, in between time, you have no curtains in any of these windows. You should see inside of this house. Multi-million-dollar house with no furniture. The house is full of ghosts now. I hope it sells because you're going to need to sell it. How many mortgages they have on that house now? They can't sleep in the house now. Crazy. This is the type of life that people want to live. This is the type of thing that they wanted for other people. They wanted other people to not be able to pay their bills. Step into a house like that. Do you know how much it was for a mortgage like that? Imagine They're holding on by the skin of their teeth. By the skin of their teeth, they're holding on. In my city, a mess. They already pre-spent the money. And look at the economy on top of it. People can't even buy food. People don't even want to go grocery shopping. When I go grocery shopping, the gang stalkers are behind me and we look at their face. We look at their face and they're uncomfortable to stand behind me with 3 items. They can't buy food. Imagine you're used to gang stalking people into homelessness, and now you're standing behind people and you can't buy food, and they're buying more food than you. You feel uncomfortable. You should see their face. I wish I could have recorded it. Embarrassment. This is my story in my city. It's a mess. And the chief gang stalker is not picking up the phone to anyone because they know what it's like being set up. They know what it's like being set up. They know what it's like when someone takes a deal against you, no matter how long they've known you, to save their own self. He knows what that's like. So is that actually someone that's really calling, or is the line tapped? Are they trying to get you to admit something on the phone? We don't even know. What month are we in? May. May 2024. Every month it gets horrible. Not even enough energy in your body to do the spell work. Drained, lifeless, bored, dejected, exhausted on a soul level, because all my energy, I would like it back. And look, they take the energy at the last minute when one would need it the most. Googling court work, spell work on YouTube. Googling spell work in this horrible time of backfires. Man. And everybody that held hands with this person is facing the same thing. They can't even if there were no police involvement or any of the above, even if there were no police involvement, who wants to pick up a phone and explain to people why their houses are haunted? Why they have no money, why their businesses are stopping, why they're draining money out their pocket and they haven't made money in so long. They haven't made $1. They're sweating. They're sweating. Nothing is moving. Nothing is moving. And it's terrifying. And the girl you're gang stalking is on YouTube talking like this. Yeah, I'd have a problem too. And you can't stop watching. You can't stop watching. That's why I watch the tarot all day, so that you can continue hearing about how this is gonna go, because this is not gonna be good. Look at it right now. What is the likelihood that this is gonna correct itself? What's the likelihood? Even if this person, these people manage to get me in, even if these people manage to get me in, why would an organization trust people that are so humiliating, that are so embarrassing, that have exposed them to their own people in the city? Hello, Miami. The people in my city know what you people do. It's gonna be a little harder getting those people on the planes now. Why would you, even if you manage to fix this, at best it's like, thank you for fixing it, you gotta go. Because what logical leader, what leader in their right mind is going to employ someone who makes these kind of mistakes? These are crucial mistakes. People don't want to deal with this anymore. Imagine that. Imagine that. Mortifying, embarrassing, dangerous, scary situation that a chief gang stalker has found himself in. What's that supposed to do to tell me you're from Miami? I know you people are in Miami. What are you gonna do? Nothing. I'm from Miami. So what? So what? So what? Let me tell you something. People that don't believe in God, they're going to believe in God. They're going to believe in God. This is just what it comes down to. People don't believe in God. That was the first problem. People do not believe in God. And I could tell people didn't believe in God from early on because people are very disrespectful to God. I could tell that people had an issue with the Most High very early on because it's like, if you actually respect God and you know what's good for you, you listen. And you know one thing that I'm going to continue saying? I don't know how people got away with having so much grace and so much mercy that God kept repeating the same thing over and over for so long, because it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years where the signs are with you and they continue to get worse. And see, the thing is, it's very easy when you feel like your enemy is a human being. So you figure, well, I'm just attacking this person. What? That's just your last victim. That is just your last victim. What about all the other stuff you've done? You don't think there's a higher power? This is the problem. People don't think there's a higher power. And this is the thing when we talk about higher power. All of us here, we think we have options in this life. There is this illusion of choice because we feel like, oh, I'm the one that chooses if I wake up and... Yeah, you have the option to choose if you're going to do something or not, but there's consequences for every action. There's consequences for every action. And everything that happens here is happening poetically. I come on YouTube to store my videos. I didn't necessarily come here to get a platform either, just to hold the videos so that when I do my lives, there's somewhere where if somebody wanted to come and rewatch them, that they had a place. And I come on here and it's all the Miami drug dealers and gang stalkers that are on here. You're telling me that's not poetic? Please. You're not here by accident. You're here on purpose. All of this is on purpose. And I have seen this happen before. When God has a point to prove, God proves a point. And I'm not talking about Jesus. When God has a point to prove, God will prove all points. And people who do not want to hear, they are already feeling. They are already feeling. This is the same God that took apart the Roman Empire and every other empire. This is the same God. People think they're above God and they don't understand. All of us, we are at God's mercy. I learned my lessons so long ago that I don't play these games anymore. I remember in the middle of this saying the same thing to the chief gang stalker in my city. I said, I know how this is gonna end and I don't even want to be here when this finishes because I know how this is going to go. It's the same thing every time. You watch people disrespect God over and over and over again. It's so corny to people listening. It's so I know it's corny. I know. See, I'm saying it and I know people are probably like, yeah, okay, if there's a God, and especially for gang stalkers who know that they're stuck, I totally get it. I have to admit that I get why people might think there is no God. I totally get it. I've explained on maybe 2 or 3 lives ago, why solutions take longer. So maybe there's a lot of people who found themselves in these situations by accident. They literally found themselves in these situations because maybe they were connected to someone or something happened and now they're stuck. So I get it, 100%. I'm not gonna paint everybody with the same brush. However, there are a lot of people here that take it for a game. And they don't believe in higher powers. They don't believe in karma. And they like to not take accountability for everything that's going on. Instead of them going on their knees and going in the spirit and trying to see if they could talk to the spirit, they like to say, that person did it to me, and that person did it, and that person's attacking me, and that person's attacking me. Everybody's attacking you, but you're guilty of doing evil. How can everybody be attacking you at the same time that you're still doing the same thing? This makes no sense. You're guilty. People continue, and you know, all they do is when God has a messenger or a mouthpiece. Do you know what, like, really think about it. Imagine you send a message to someone and they injure the messenger, or they take the messenger out, or they what kind of message does that send to you about someone's respect level for you when you send a messenger and people do these kind of things? Every time somebody says the things that are happening here are no good, all the gang stalkers swarm in their comment section and they want to hack their account and they want to destabilize them and they want to gang stalk them in the streets. Hey, what's your email address? Can we connect by Skype? And now they're getting all the spell work and everything else. Could you imagine that? Because God sends you a message, so now you go haywire on the person. It's like sending the messenger's lifeless body back to God. How long do people think that God is going to let them continue to kill her prophets? How long? People are, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, but I don't care. I don't care, because I know enough to know that when God says to say something, I say it. When God says to do my part, I do my part, and I let the chips fall where they may. Taking out 1 or 2 people, even 10, 20 people, doesn't make a difference. And I, in my humble opinion, and I cannot control what the Most High does. I think it's incredibly gracious when I compare how much suffering that you people inflict on other people. For me to compare the two, the amount of suffering that gang stalkers inflict on other people and how long God is taking to really bring this judgment down, I think it's incredibly gracious to grant evil people such grace. I really do. But it's not my place to question God. It is not my place for me to even say such a thing. It's just my humble opinion. And I can have that opinion because I suffered at the hands of people as well. This kind of persecution that you guys put on people is insane. It is insane, and not one of you is rich. It would be one thing. You see, you look at Hollywood stars, why they do it, and you see them in their mansions, and you see them living their life and with all their fancy friends. And you could say to yourself, it's not right, but I can connect the dots as to why. But for people to come in here and to be doing this kind of nonsense and still be broke, still be financially the exact same place as where they started, Make this make sense. Make it make sense. Like, what are you doing this for? You're doing this so you could run in place? And if you weren't doing this, what would you have been doing? You would have had time to think about upgrading out of your job. You would have had time to think about, well, maybe I want another car. Let me work a couple more hours, or maybe this or maybe that. But they stop your every move. And you either know this or you don't. And you know what? Every year they get more and more lax about pretending to you that they're not controlling every facet of your life. And let me tell you how bad it is, Miami, since you're in Miami. Let me tell you how bad it is. They will tell you who to be friends with. You talk about micromanaging. This is worse than micromanaging. Who to be friends with, who to date, who to hate. Man, they probably I wouldn't be surprised if they're telling people what to eat. They micromanage you that hard. Where to work, where to not work, what business you're in. It's like crazy. It's like you literally belong to this thing. You belong to it. Totally. This is the life that people have gotten into because they thought it was funny to persecute another person. This is the life that they're living. You should have seen them in my city gang stalking me. They looked like they just pulled them out of the club, pulled them out of their bed, pulled them with the pajamas on, and they're standing disgruntled on the side of the street, hand folded like this, pissed off because it's time to gang stalk someone. And so that means if you're sitting down for dinner, sitting down for breakfast, just put your pajamas on, you gotta come. And people are pissed off on the phone arguing at the bottom of the street because they don't want to be there. People are on the phone like, I don't want to be here right now, but they have no choice. They have no choice. This is what it looks like. The real gang stalking life. I would call it life after, I don't know what year, maybe year 2, maybe 6 months into it, who knows. So the people that volunteered for this are now being persecuted in the exact same way to do it. What? You guys think this is easy? It's the beginning of the end. And I can only talk for my city, but I think there's a lot of cities going through this. I think there's a lot of people facing the exact same thing. When people are talking about their gang stalking experience and they're talking about the exact same things, the exact same scenarios, can you make everybody the bad guy? That you found them wherever they were and you persecuted them and now they're the bad guys somehow? Come on now. Anyway, let me get into what I was going to talk about. Let me get into what I was supposed to talk about. And I don't know which one I want to talk about now. Let me talk about gang stalking as a psychological game, because I think that perfectly matches what I was talking about originally. Because I didn't actually come on here to talk about this. It's like, I just think people are too deep into this to still be playing the same stupid games, but it is what it is. Gang stalking as a psychological game. So, first of all, when you find yourself as a TI, if there are any TIs in here, because I think it's majority gang stalkers, but if there are any TIs in here, I'm talking to TIs tonight, okay? I'm gonna switch gears a little bit here. You need to be solution oriented. And what I mean by that is you're not just running a race, there's hurdles. I don't know what race it is that I'm talking about where it's like all hurdles along the way. You're jumping hurdles the entire way through. That's what you're doing. You're jumping hurdles. Everything you do, there's going to be something that either wants to slow you down, distract you, stop you in any way, shape, or form. And I have to tell you, the bulk of what it is going to be stupidity. It's going to be all nonsense. You're going to be talking about something and it's exactly like this. You're in a chat and they come and they talk about stupidness that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. How does that actually affect you? It doesn't. It's psychological. That's all it is. It's a distraction. Doesn't matter. You're going to see things that it's like they want to be close to you or friends with you to gaslight you, to tell you different things are wrong with you. If they can't do that, they'll try to make like things pop up on your feed so you notice that these people are suffering worse than you. It's not about that. Everything is either a lie, a distraction, an illusion, and the biggest illusion that they paint is that you can't survive without them. And that's one of the biggest lies that they have. You absolutely were surviving before them. But what they do is they make it a mission to persecute you, and make you think that you have to stop and you have to quit. And the thing is, most of us human beings, we want to see results right away. So once we start something, we want to see a glimmer of hope right away. And that is not how life works. I talk about it all the time. When you start planting, anything you plant before the spring is a waste of time because it's going to die to frost. Anything that you plant, after the spring, anything that you plant after the harvest is your window. It's only going to bear fruit in September. It doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter what you do. These are the timelines. Your life is the same. Your life operates in seasons. So if you get the inspiration, the nudge to start something, the last time you tried to leave, if you did try to leave, or the last time you tried to build something, how long did you commit to it? Because let me tell you, if you ask a business owner who had no persecution, how long did it take you before you got successful in that business? I got my first mall location in my ninth year or eighth year, my 8th year of business. My first year didn't pan out. I barely made it to the first year. I couldn't support the expenses on the business, and I didn't even go big. I just made a wrong move. I had to sit it out for 2 years and learn how to do the basics, marketing and sales. And then I got in the most humble way possible. I was sharing a small location for $500 with somebody else, $250 a piece. That's how much I learned the lesson of being forced to close down a location. And then from there, I continued on. Believe me, everything takes time. So when you set on this journey for you to do anything, get out of gang stalking, have prayers answered, whether it's putting a business up, whether it's getting another job while you're being gang stalked, getting a car, if it takes effort, remember, it would have taken effort if no one was on your back. Give yourself some grace and give yourself some time. It will take a while. You are not here to count the seconds as how many seconds does it take for the water to boil, or how many seconds does it take for the paint to dry. And as God reminds me all the time, every time you plant, you don't keep turning around to check if the seeds came out of the ground. You got to just keep nurturing it, watering it, checking the soil. It'll happen when it's ready, when it's natural, when it makes sense. This is a psychological game. There's hurdles. I talk about the fact. And this was one post that was reported on YouTube. I said there's 10 ways to skin a cat. If you cannot go through the front door because they've locked it, you check on the side. If the side doors and the back doors are locked, you climb through a window. And if that doesn't work, you might have to drive a car through the front door if you're that determined to get in. That is the kind of determination it takes to get through anything gang stalking related. That is the kind of determination that it takes to get through anything where you have this kind of oppression. But it doesn't mean that you can't get it done. Your willpower is a strength. When you look at things that could be against you, you look at spell work, you look at people persecuting you, you look at prayers, Willpower is up there with all four of them. So think about how pervasive and powerful these four things are. So spell work, prayers, gang stalking, and your willpower is just as strong. That is your determination and your commitment to keep doing something. And sometimes it might just have to come down to who can outlast who. It's not just exhausting to gang stalk people who refuse to fall. It's pricey, it's costly. It's costly. You have to understand that as you remain committed to the things that you said you're going to do, one day you will do it. As you continue to say, every day I'm going to do it. Let me give you an example. When I first started getting gang stalked and I could see myself slipping, I could see myself not making the bed because I'm terrified. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. This is hacked. That is going on. The house is not getting cleaned as it should. The dishes are staying in the sink. I'm a person that never happens. My house needs to be like in tip-top shape. I'm very serious about it. I'm adamant. The kitchen must be clean. Floors must... Very serious. My entire life, because that's how I grew up. Dishes in the sink is really an issue because we have a dishwasher. So I'm thinking to myself, this is not me. I'm not going to allow this to happen. And would you believe only after not doing it, let's say a month or two, it's like, it feels like my legs are led to get this thing done. I remember the first time that I made my bed, the first time I did my laundry in maybe 2-3 months, I want to say 2 months, it felt like such a chore to do just that. It felt so difficult to do just that. It felt tough. And then I had to get myself back into the groove of it. I had to go back and reorganize my linen closet, take things out of bags because I just moved. When they started gang stalking me, it's like my house froze in time until I said, I'm not living like this. When you make the decision to do that, to clean your environment, to organize your life, to get your paperwork in order, to make the phone calls or pay attention to the things that you need to, this is the beginning. This becomes the beginning of taking your life and your power back. Something that you may not think is as important, but it's very important because 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, after gang stalking, you don't want your teeth to be eroded from decay, dental work that you need to have done because you didn't take care of yourself. You don't want your floors to look like you're living in a homeless place or your place to look a mess. I don't care if you don't have much. Clean whatever you have and fix it. Cook at home. Don't start living in garbage. Clean it up, put it in bags, take care of yourself. Pick yourself up. These people are persecuting you for this very reason. It's not like other people who are living that way because they're being persecuted by demons and because they made agreements that they cannot live up to. These people are actually following you around all over on the streets. These people are going out of their way. These people are entering your home. When they started entering my home and I took care of it, I was taking care of it. That was their first indication, like, doesn't look like it's working. It looks like she's healing. It looks like it's reversing. It's one of the first signs of healing. Yes, they can gang stalk you. No, you do not need to live like that. I don't care if the mattress is on the floor. I could tell you guys right now, my mattress is on the floor. I have like 5 beds in storage. I came out of a 4,000 square foot house. I own what I have. It's mine. So I don't care. It doesn't matter. These things don't matter. Gang stalkers want you to think that it matters, but guess what? In order for me to buy that $4,000 square foot, that 4,000 square foot house, I had to sleep on the floor. Why? It didn't make sense for me to move a bed in here. It just didn't make sense for me. That's all. It's not like I didn't have. It just didn't make sense. There's no shame in it. There's no whatever. It doesn't matter. That is your personal business, however you live, but for your mind, keep the space clean, Take care of yourself. And I talk about this a lot. Take care of your physical self. You have clothes in the closet. If you're gonna go do groceries, if you're gonna go to the dry cleaner, if you're gonna go buy bread, I don't care what you're gonna do. Take one of the nice shirts, one of the nice pants, brush up the shoes, go outside like that. Why not? It's there. Why not? You may not have money to go to dinner right now. You may not be in the mood, or you may not have anyone to go with, but take care of yourself. It's not just about them seeing that you're taking care of yourself. It's a change of your mentality. If this doesn't change, around you will never change. This has to come first. It's a process that's gradual, so it has to happen a little at a time. Take care of yourself. You can see when people are TIs. I've gone through people's profiles and they've gone from normal people, and then they have the huge beards, and then they start graying, and then they start talking about things that don't make sense, and they've lost their mind. And now you can see that they're homeless and they no longer go to work, and they're out of a job, and you see the decline. You see the decline in this person. That's why you're taking care of yourself. I know you don't feel like it. Of course, you think I felt like it. It was a decision. I'm telling people how I got through it. Every time I do this, I get a ton of spell work because nobody wants me to tell people how to survive. That's the reason the gang stalkers are in here, because they don't want people to know how to survive. And I don't care how old you are, if you're a little old man or a little old woman, it's not about anybody else. It's about you. It's about taking care of you. It's about you, not being diminished in a way that you wouldn't have allowed yourself to fall apart like that. You would never have allowed yourself to fall apart like that were these people not persecuting you. Look back at your old pictures. Just recently, when you come on my page and you see how happy I am, and you see me in makeup, and you see all of those things, it took a while. It took a while. It took a lot of healing. So if I went through all of that and I could tell you how to do all of that, then it doesn't need to take you as long, but it's psychological. It's just here. And remember, I said that your willpower can combat spell work, people praying against you, and people gang stalking you, all three. Because that's what I had to use, just sheer willpower every day to take care of myself, then go to a workplace. I was being gang stalked 12 hours a day, still making money in the store, cleaning up the store, changing everything, managing employees, managing all kinds of things, coming home, still cooking, still cleaning up, and going back to work. If I can do all of that, believe me, you can do all of that. It's not like I have more energy than anybody else. So this is the first one. You got to be solution oriented. If you are applying for something and you truly do need it, and you're not approved, you got to go another way. You got to escalate the claim. You got to do something else. You got to do so. If you've come to the end of your rope with it, with everything you could do, and it's not working, you know what? Don't waste any more energy. It wasn't meant to be. Find another solution. So you know what? Maybe I can't go through here. Maybe I need something else. For me, this is daily, still to today. I'll be recording something and I need to add like a voiceover to upload the thing to YouTube. It's not working. From me doing it from my cell phone, I got to do it another way. I got to download an app. And before, it used to piss me off and trigger me. And now it's second nature because I've been doing it so long. But here's the thing. When all of this mess is completely cleaned up, can you imagine? Can you imagine all of this mess is completely cleaned up, and I am of the mentality that I always find a solution some way, somehow. I go to the bank and they don't approve me, so I go over here and I go over there and I go over there without any sort of emotional tug of war, triggering, upset, nothing. It's just normal to me. So these skills that you learn by this horrendous experience are things that you get to take with you into the future and be a superhuman. Imagine you have competitors in a business setting and people are facing hurdles you cannot escape, a tough economy, government regulations, things like that, things that people cannot escape. And you're the one that's like, oh, the government regulation, oh, we'll just do it this way. Oh, we'll just do it that way. And your competitors are like, what is this person made of? Things that are really terrifying us and keeping us up at night, this person is just gliding through it like it doesn't. Yeah, because they've never been gang stalked. And you don't care. You're like, this is a breeze. Thank God gang stalking is over. That's how you are. You're like, this is nothing. I want you to think of gang stalking as a crash course in the rest of your life. And I really don't care how old you are, because I know they gang stalk old people. I know some of these people are in their 60s and God forbid, please not in their 70s, but I put nothing past them. And if you are one of these individuals, you still have life in you. You don't know what God is about to give you. They talk about, I think it's the person who invented KFC did so in like their 60s or their 50s. If you that's like only halfway through life. If you're in your 50s, you can live to 100. That's halfway through. There are people in their 70s that are working out, that are taking care of themselves, that look amazing. You got to take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. These people are going to come on here and tell you, oh, you're old, you're wrinkled, you're this, you're that, you're blah, blah, blah. Who cares? They have their own issues. They're being paid to do that. Don't even take it seriously. And as a matter of fact, embrace it. It's the reality. If you're old, you're old. Who cares? That's what comes with being old, is that you're wrinkled. Who cares? And you know what? Embracing it is saying it out loud to them. You're right, I am old. And just wait. What else are they? Where else can you go with something like that? Somebody says you're old and you're like, yep, I sure am. Where else do they go with it? Okay, you old person. You're right. That's it. The most they can do is leave you alone. That's how you need to approach things, from a place of relaxation, from a place of ease. Letting them get under your skin, and trust me, I've gone through all of it. I've been guilty of everything. That's why I can tell other people it's a waste of your energy and it's so dumb. You see, where I'm at is a place where the spell work, or what people call the energy work, is not working anymore. I've healed myself from it. How? With spiritual hygiene. What is spiritual hygiene? You have to look at spell work like dust that lays on your skin. The first day you have dust on your skin, it's bad. The second day, the third day, the fourth week, you're filthy. And as the dust continues to lay on your skin, it becomes harder and harder to wash off. It's no longer just dust on your skin in a dusty environment. Now you're developing disorders. You're getting a skin rash. You're getting disease, and then it gets infected into your skin, and all in. This is how it goes crazy. This is how it becomes out of control. So what has to happen when you're getting the spell work and the negativity and all that? If you go to work in a dusty environment, you come home every night and you scrub your skin every single night. You wake up in the morning and you know that you're going to face this. You might want to go in the middle of the day and just wipe up your face and wipe up the exposed parts of your skin, maybe midday. Things like that you continue to do, so that over time, you don't keep having this thing settled in. Because the spell work is psychological, meant to make you lose your mind, be anxious, be paranoid. And the spell work, the gang stalking cannot work without the spell work. I gotta change my banner to say this. The gang stalking cannot work without the spell work. Do you know what gang stalkers look like without spell work? If I showed you a video, you'd be embarrassed. I was embarrassed of myself after I cleared all of that stuff out. I was like, this is what I'm scared of. A little old lady comes up to you and she asks you a very personal question that she should know about. And it gives you indication that she knows you a lot more, but it's not so significant that if you reported it to someone, they would be shocked. It's not like your social security number, but it's just something that, how would someone know that to freak you out? But this is an old lady. What's she gonna do? She can't beat you up. She can't harass you. She can't, like, what is she gonna do? She was just instructed to do that. And as a little old lady, do you know how terrified she is that she was instructed to do that? Do you know how horrible it is that somebody told her to do that? They're gang stalking little old ladies. That's the only thing that you should think to yourself, is not how that little old lady is a B word, but how somebody pushed an old lady to do something so horrific. Because she would probably prefer to be at home right now. You're going to call this lady and say, hey, you better get up and you better go to this place at this time and go ask somebody this question. You don't think naturally she's wondering, well, why? Why do they call me every day to go to these places and do these things and what? Come on. Everybody here is facing the same thing. Everybody here is facing the same thing. Everybody's trapped, including the chief gang stalker. The chief gang stalker is getting hunted down by their own people. So if the chief gang stalkers are not safe, then are the gang stalkers safe? You don't think they're sending spell work at the chief gang stalker? You don't think they're trying to find him? You don't think they're trying to execute him? You don't think they're trying to sacrifice him for flubbing this? For having people who know all the secrets on YouTube talking? You don't think that's an issue? You think he wants to exist like this? You think this is his idea of a vacation? We got to all open up our eyes and see what's going on here. It's not just the gang stalking victims that are suffering. Everybody is a victim to this. What would we call gang stalking? To this persecution, to this method of persecution. Everybody here is a victim. If you see gang stalking without the spell work, it's just someone pushing a cart in the store that looks at you, that smirks at you a certain way. That's all it is. That is literally all it is. It's not someone following you in every single aisle, because that is too obvious. It's people who show up when you're there and they look at you a little bit too long. These are the kind of things that they do. This is how it looks like to you when there is no spell work. Believe me, people still follow me around. They still try to track me. They still try to guess where I'm going. But when I see them without the spell work, honestly, sometimes I probably miss some of them. I probably do, because I'm minding my business most of the time. I'm not as noticing as much as I probably would have. But more so, it's like I kept asking myself for the longest time, like, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? The point is to make you afraid. It's to make you afraid. So it's not enough to try to make you afraid, because most people are oblivious to these small things. They have to make it very obvious. They have to go out of their way. You know, in the beginning, they held their camera up like this to their chest as they were driving by on my street. Do you know what they did in the beginning? They wrote the word BITCH on the back door and drove past my street. No, not on the door, on the window. So the driver's window was down and the back window was up, and they wrote BITCH and they drove by super slow on my street. These were the kind of things. They were aggressive in the beginning so I could gang stalk myself the rest of the way, or I could be aware, or I could be in fear. So you have to understand, these people are literally putting fear tactics in your heart. They're using fear tactics to put you in anxiety, to put you in paranoia, to put you in all of this. But it's really spell work that they're using to do it, and they're using the gang stalking to amplify that. If you clean the spell work long and hard enough, you will not have to worry about street theatrics ever again, because it simply won't work on you. That's it. That's it, and that's all. That's all there is to that. So keep that in mind. I consider gang stalking a spiritual awakening. Every traumatic event in life is a spiritual awakening. It's an opportunity for you to realize your mortality. And usually people connect with God at times where they realize that they're mortal. At times where they realize that I may not wake up tomorrow. I may not have a second chance. And you start thinking about how you've been living, the choices you've been making, the things you've been doing. And you just start realizing there's something bigger than me. And, you know, I'm always saying, Look, I have been open to concepts that I would never have been open to prior to getting into gang stalking. At the time all of this started happening, from the very beginning, it's like I was exposed to concepts that I would have found laughable even a month before. But gang stalking will open up your mind to a lot of craziness, because you start realizing, like, wait, the world is not black and white like we've been told. I think gang stalking might be one of the ultimate spiritual awakenings. It is an opportunity for anybody that is in this situation, being persecuted in this way. It's an opportunity to realize that, number one, there's something beyond you, but not just that, that God starts moving for you in very real ways. And so in my journey, one of the things that I did was I stopped focusing on the gang stalking itself. I stopped focusing on the persecution itself, and I started focusing on, like, what's God doing here? How is God moving in my favor? How is God making things possible? I had blind faith in God that God would end this thing for me. And there were moments I was like, could it really be true? Like me? And when it started happening, oh my God, mind blown. I'm telling you, I would sit in my store, or I would be on the street, or I'd be driving around and there's no one. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what it used to feel like. You promised me this, and you did it. The first day that I drove around and no one was following me, I couldn't believe it. Let me tell you how. I was in a U-Haul, a moving truck, so I wasn't in my regular vehicle. They were probably searching for my vehicle high and low. And the data on my cell phone died because I used up all the data watching YouTube videos as I was like packing, and remotely I was in my new place. I didn't have the internet, so I had no internet. So I had no internet on my phone, and I was moving around with the phone, and I had the moving truck, and I was driving around and there was no one, and I was going to different malls and different locations and there was no one. And within the first week or two, they were panicked. And so I started noticing, if I went somewhere, it's like you'd see guys all over the mall, because the mall's fairly empty in the morning. You see guys all over and they're huffing and puffing and they're like this, and then they spot me and they're like, and it's like they spot me. Now you start seeing them come around, and now you start seeing them follow me in the supermarket, and now you start. And I sat back and I was like, what has changed between now and when nothing happened for like the first couple weeks that I was here? What's the difference? I realized it was a cell phone. When God wants to break you out of the cycle, Miami can't stop it. Nothing can stop it. Do not disrespect God by thinking that people can run your destiny and your future more than God. The God that controls the weather? Are you kidding me right now? When God said enough is enough, she said, you've done your job. You can go now. And I moved out of the house before I sold it. And I knew she was talking to me and I knew. And then I saw it and I kept seeing it different places. And as soon as she said, you've done your job, the first day I drove around and no one was I had forgotten what it was like, because I had gone through this so long. I had adapted to it so well, what it felt like to be under this persecution night and day. And believe me, and I could tell more stories about protection in my new space and all of these kind of things and the spiritual stuff and whatever, and I talk all about that on my channel. So if you're new here, when you get a chance, go check out one of the playlists and go see the spiritual information, real life information, how to keep your space clean of this dirty energy that they refuse to leave you alone. All of it is possible. So when you get a chance, check out the page, subscribe, like, share, etc. But when I came into this world and knew how to move around, to get away from them, to sneak away for a bit, walking the streets was like, it was like, I don't know if anybody here has ever seen Singing in the Rain, or when someone walks down the street and they click their heels. You're damn near tempted to do that. Because how many times have you walked around and looked at other people on the street and thought, they are so lucky, they have no idea. I thought that in the beginning of Gang Stalking. I was like, these people are so lucky and they have no idea what it feels like to be free. They have no idea. I remember when I was like that, I envy that. And look at me now. Everybody gets out. It's just how long it is worth it to do it. But everybody gets out. You're not going to be in gang stalking for forever, even if that's what they want. And there are some people that want you persecuted until you are homeless on the streets and they've totally destroyed you. That's why I talk about the hygiene. Hold on. Maddie, you can go. That's why I talk about the personal hygiene and taking care of yourself and taking the first step towards taking your life back and building yourself up mentally. I want to let you know that these people don't want to let go of me. They still want to have my devices hacked. They still want to ruin my engagement. They still want to come in here and harass me. They still want to do all of this stuff that they're doing. They want to do all of it. If they can catch me on the street, they still want to catch me on the street and do all kinds of things. They still want to do it. It doesn't work because there's no spell work over top of me. You gotta heal and you gotta clean it out, and that takes a while, especially depending on how long you've been going through it. So you gotta heal. And B, once you learn to get around it and navigate it, and you're standing up to that pressure without involving your energy, without being triggered, without giving your energy away and giving... Listen, and let me tell you, you're not a robot. You will be triggered some days. You will be pissed off some days. You will be unhappy. You will think it's ridiculous. It's not about that not happening. It's about riding the wave of the emotion and reeling yourself back in. The healthy part is reeling yourself back and not letting it continue. You don't go to your bed upset. You don't let it happen for hours. You don't react on anger. You don't react on frustration. You give yourself a moment. And in the beginning, it takes time. You might need a day. And then it's a couple hours. And then it's 5 minutes. And then it's like, they're hacking me again. Anyway, and go along with your day. And you find a workaround. There's always a workaround. There are things that I thought were so extremely difficult that I found workarounds for. And when you get a really good workaround, sometimes you might have to tinker with it a couple of times before you get it just so right. But once you get something to the place that it's supposed to be, there's nothing that anyone can do. Like, there's some things that are just, they're in and they're in. There's nothing you can do. Like crystals are like that. Someone can send you spell work night and day, but they're fighting a crystal. They're not fighting you. It's just being blocked, and there's nothing that they can do. That is a workaround that what can anybody do about that? If you live alone, walk with your crystals. Leave your crystal, put them in a bag and walk with them every day, because people will work on your crystals in your house. They will steal your crystals. They'll do all kinds of things. So walk with your crystals. If you live alone, they'll come in and out of your home. Look, if you have a chance, look up Hollywood gang stalking. I just want you to know that stars are gang stalked harder than you could think. Whatever is happening to you, that happens to rich people all the time. It is not uncommon. No one can bypass it. I happened to stumble upon, who else would they want to control? I stumbled upon this video, and it was talking about these influencers in the early days of Hollywood, how these secret societies wanted to bring these influencers in and under their control, and they made them do like sexual acts on video and all that kind of stuff, and the same thing that we go through is what they were going through. So the influencers that didn't want to be a part of it, they kept on coming in and out of their house, fixing things that were broken, moving things around, all kinds of things, and they were being watched 24/7. Everybody is, more people are being silently gang stalked than you can ever believe. It is not just a problem isolated to TIs who come on the internet, who come on YouTube to talk about it. This is a huge thing. And I have one video where I talk about it, that they're looking to roll it out worldwide. They're looking to roll it out globally as like, this is the new way of policing people. And you know, in the Bible, they talk about the mark of the beast. They say with the mark of the beast, you won't be able to buy food. You won't be able to buy bread. You won't be able to rent a place. You won't be able to get a job. It's the same thing. Isn't that the same thing that's happening right now to you? You got to think about it like that. And that's why it's really important for people like us to learn how to stand up to this craziness, to learn how to pick yourself up again under heavy persecution. And gang stalking is mind over matter in all ways. There is no excuse. In the regular world, you can make an excuse, you can make a reason. These are not even excuses. These are real life reasons that you have. I will validate your every reason that you come up with. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go outside. I'll validate for you that all of it is legitimate. However, you have no other choice. If you allow yourself to keep slipping, to have a day where you take one day off and another day off, you don't need any days off. You don't even need time off. If I have to take a nap in the middle of the day, I pray to God to wake me up in exactly an hour and a half, whatever it is. That's how much I am committed to my future. I'm very serious about it. Because what is the alternative? You slip, you start slipping, you start not taking things very seriously. No time off, no breaks, keep going. Try to get a good night's sleep, but if you don't, I don't know, drink a coffee or do something. Keep going. Keep walking all the way through. They want to stop you. Give them no time. And things will happen, and there are things that you have to sacrifice, and things that are lost, and things you have to give up. And that happens as well. And you keep going. And you just keep going. You keep going. The other thing, unclench and learn. It's like, I don't know if anybody watching has ever been on a motorcycle. You can't tense yourself as it like bobs and weaves and it like goes low. You really have to relax and just let it do what it's gonna do. Because if you clench, it'll make it like, well, this is what I was told, it'll make it like spiral out of control or whatever. You gotta relax in this thing, or you're gonna give yourself PTSD, and you're gonna, you know, it's gonna leave an emotional scar on you. You gotta unclench, loosen up, and just ride it. You need every lesson that you're gonna learn here. And sometimes your hand's gonna get smacked because you didn't listen to your intuition, and that is okay. That's also part of the plan. So sometimes you stumble, but if you keep God with you and you keep God close, you will never fall. And that's what it boils down to. You will never fall. So you have to loosen up, relax. Sometimes God's gonna ask you to do things that are gonna terrify you. Sometimes things are gonna happen to you that it's like coming on here in this type of situation against this type of organization. God's like, you're gonna talk to people. That was one of those things where I was like, I don't know if I want to talk to people about this stuff. But you know, more importantly, you start thinking about the people that are going through things. You start thinking about the people that can't get out of it. You start thinking about people that are struggling with the same issues as you. And some of these solutions are pretty simple, but they would never go to a spiritual place. They don't own a Bible. That wouldn't be the first place for them to go. So it might take someone like yourself who's relatable to say something that might trigger them, that might spark a thought, that might spark an interest that they go looking into a solution. And that's literally the way that you need to see it. So every lesson that you learn during gang stalking is something that is going to prepare you for an amazing future. And I say this all the time. My light just went out. And I say this all the time, and I really do mean that. Everything that happens to you. Can I use somebody's phones? Hold on one second, guys. All right, I'm back. I am back. This light is not as bright as my other one, but that's okay. So yeah, as I was saying, I call it unclenching and learning, because there's a difference in learning in a very relaxed environment and learning where you feel like you're gonna take a fall every step of the way. And in the beginning, it was like, I'm learning things, but it's like I'm resentful, I don't want to be here, I'm upset, etc., etc. Now, everything is a lesson. If I did this and this thing worked out, then I'm taking note of it. If they do this and it worked to either distract me or derail me, then I'm taking note of it and I'm never letting them get another opportunity to do that again. This is how I see it. And this is how you have to see it. And only let anything that they do to you, only let it work one time. Do not find yourself in situations with people where it's like they're using the same trick over and over. This was me in the beginning. This is how I wasted my time. But I didn't know better. So I can tell people that. Whatever these tactics are that they're using, you gotta be quick on your feet with it. You gotta learn very, very, very quickly. No one can take away your free will, so start making moves. Yes, there's gonna be hurdles, and yes, there's gonna be hurdles, and yes, they're gonna, they're gonna make you fight for everything that you do. Once you get past that, once you learn how to find solutions, make a move. Your free will is as strong as anything that anybody could send towards you. And you would never be the first person in history that has to fight against people working against you. It's life. It comes with the territory, no matter who it is. There are people whistleblowing against governments, whole governments with militaries. There are people whistleblowing against those people. Do you know how much strength it takes? God didn't even sign you up for that. As realizing, sitting at home and realizing like, damn, I need to whistleblow against the government. Could you even imagine if that was your cross to bear? Be grateful, please. Make a move in whatever it is that you want to do, in whatever it is that you feel that God is calling you to do. Make a move. If you're sitting there and you're scared, make a move. You got to do something. I was scared throughout this process. The fear is another thing that I constantly talk about. You got to get rid of. And it could be fear of change. It could be fear of, I know there's a lot of people from Miami, a lot of people from different countries watching me that are associated with this organization. Of course it's going to be difficult. Of course it's frightening. Of course people who go against them end up not being alive anymore, and you've seen all of that. That's why you need God with you for that protection. That's why you need the Most High with you, because trust me, these people will send everything at you, including the kitchen sink. They will rip the kitchen sink right off the wall and send the entire thing at you. You have to be strong, and you cannot do this thing without God, but you definitely need to take note of the things that they do that work against you. Take notes of the things that you do, that you self-sabotage. Take notes of, I guess, things that you've tried that haven't worked that maybe you can try in another way. And I'm going to just encourage you guys. And I spent months like this where God kept pushing me every day. Just continue, just keep going, just keep going. And I'm tired and I'm like bickering like, God, how? God, how? Just keep going. Just keep going. Oh, well, if I just do this, then no, just keep going. Keep pushing, keep innovating, keep finding solutions. Your breakthrough is always near. And I've had so many breakthroughs in so many different ways. And I share a number of them with people on here as well. Ask and you shall receive. Test the spirit of God. Ask for something and just take your time and see how God unfolds it. And let me tell you, sometimes it'll take a year. Sometimes it'll take 2 years. Sometimes it'll take 5 years. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There are people right now enjoying a life that it took 20 years to build, or a lifetime to build. If they had to sit there in year 2 or 3 and think about, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? How is this going to work? It's your determination. What separates the determination and the willpower you need right now from what would happen to you, you know, had you not been being gang stalked, is only that you know that there's opposition and you know that there's forces against you. That is the only difference. So the last time you did it, you figured things out, you built something, you motivated yourself. The last time you did it, there was no opposition to think about, but that was your training, the lessons you needed to know how to do it now, because now there's the psychological warfare of people being against you. And, you know, for me, as I rebuild, God's like, you know how to do this. You did this before. And I'm like, yeah, but. It's like, yeah, well, maybe the methods might be different, but you've done it before. You know how to do this. Just do it. And that's all it boils down to. And you know what the frustrating part is? But I'm not seeing results, but nothing's happening. And God's like, nothing happened before either. Nothing happened before. Were you making money right away before? No. Okay. And it's like, damn. True. I wasn't. Did you have, you know, listen, when I first came on YouTube, I had 0 subscribers, 3 subscribers, and like 12 views, if even that. Of the 12 views, maybe 4 of them were my own. The other 8 was from a gang stalker, the person gang stalking me. And I kept going, and there was a number of times I was so discouraged. I was like telling God, I'm like, what is even the point? Am I even helping anyone? And as soon as I said that, there would be somebody coming in and they're like, thank you for posting this, or, you know, you always post the good stuff, or you always post right on time. And I'm like, damn, somebody's actually reading this. They're just not commenting. And I realized, like, TIs don't comment. Not only do TIs not comment on your stuff, and now I understand why TIs don't comment. I don't even want to comment on people's stuff either, because like as soon as you can't comment on their stuff, they switch up on you. They don't comment, they just consume your videos, they just watch it, they don't like, they don't whatever, but then you just get the subscribes and the views. And that's just being a TI, that's just how it goes. You go on other people's channels, they have views, they have likes, they have all of this other stuff. TIs don't do any of that, they just watch. So I'm saying the same to you. I wouldn't say I almost quit, because I would have still did it anyways, but I just didn't think that what I was doing had any impact for a long time. I just really didn't. So you kind of have to just look at everything that you're going through like that you may not see the impact right away. You may not see, you know, what it's doing for anyone, how it's benefiting you, how it's actually working. But if you look back to a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, you'll see all the progress that was made this whole time through. You will see everything that came about for you. So please don't give up on yourself, because you have no choice. And my message, when was it? Either last night or the night before, was the good wife waits. And for Christians, you know, it's kind of the same thing where people look at the church or the congregation as the bride of Christ. And in a situation like that, it's like, if you consider yourself the bride of the Holy Spirit, metaphorically, where a husband takes care of a wife, then, the message was that the good wife waits. So you just have to wait on God. And the Bible continues to repeat that, wait on God. These are not BS solutions. This is not like when dark energies make dark deals with you and they could get it to you tomorrow because it's fake. Yeah, we can wire you money right away because we're going to suck everything out of your life that is good. With this blood money that enters your life, that enters your hands, your destiny is gone. Your good luck is gone. Your protection is gone. Everything that you built is gone. It's not like that. These are real solutions. They require work. You're on earth. People are not supposed to depend on spell work for everything. If you're going to depend on anything, depend on prayers. Because as you pray, God says, okay, we'll build it together. You got to go do the heavy lifting. Everything that you want to last must be built one brick at a time. And it must be built in truth and in purity and in honesty and with a good heart and for good intentions. And better yet, if you're building things that God wants to use, that's going to be in service of God, that is a depiction of the truth of the Most High, the truth of God, even better yet, how much more protection on that? So whatever you lose during gang stalking or in any of these organizations, thank the Most High that you're losing it. It is dirty. It comes with a lot of bad luck. Thank God that you're losing it. And when you're done losing it and it's gone away and you're tired of it, not even that you're tired of it, but the time of it being in your life has expired. When all of that is done, now you get to build afresh, build anew, and build on a solid foundation with a solid God behind you, so that's important. I always say, don't fear what should fear you. Danger is real. Fear is optional. This is all psychological. You're walking around and people are following you. This is illegal. This is not something that people should be doing. If you know people, like for me, it was people in my community that I actually knew that were gang stalking me. I think for a lot of people, it's like that as well. That means you get to document who these people are and what this is about. Don't fear people that are supposed to be afraid of you. You may not be able to do anything about it right now at this moment, but there is some day that, you're going to be able to utilize that information. Don't be fearing people who are doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. And especially if you walk with the Holy Spirit, if you walk with God, if you're a good person, if your heart is clean, there is absolutely nothing for you to fear. There is nothing that I fear. And it's not because the danger is not real. The danger is very real. But the only thing that I fear is God. Disappointing God, not being worthy of God's love, disappointing myself, betraying myself by betraying God. That's the only thing that I fear. Everything else is, who cares? Honestly, who cares? You'll think about gang stalkers and all this kind of stuff and chief gang stalkers and blah, blah, blah. Those people are on death's doorstep. Those people have nothing good going on. No more good karma, no more good luck, no more goodwill, no prayers being answered. They don't know where to turn. That is not something that I myself am personally going to worry about. So never fear what should be afraid of you. If you're on the right side of things and you're dealing with God, like, that is all you need, to be quite honest with you, because God makes a way. God can make wealth through anything, and if you're a TI, you really need to, and you're not spiritual yet, like, you really need to figure it out, honestly. Like, you're not getting through this without a spiritual practice. It is what it is. And the last thing I want to say about this, not the last thing, but something very critical. Absolutely everyone exits gang stalking one way or the other. The only factor is, how are you going to exit? Are you going to exit homeless and dejected and no willpower and your spirit broken? Or are you going to exit a better version of yourself, strong, determined, dominant, an evolved version of yourself, the choice really is yours, and you got to do the work. That's it. But everybody exits. There's no way that anybody's gang stalking you for life. It is not worth it to spend that kind of money on nonsense like that. I'm just saying. At some point, everybody exits. Everybody has to exit. So if you stay close to God, that determines how you exit. Stop thinking gang stalking for life is for life. It's the biggest lie that these people have ever told and made people buy into. They are liars, and they're desperate for you to admit that, for you to believe that. There are a ton of people that they just left alone who just went about with their life. Everybody exits gang stalking. I have met people who have exited, myself in my city. Everybody exits. It is what it is. Your feet are going to be as heavy as lead. Mind over matter. Mind over matter. It's like one of those moms who gets in front of a car and lifts it off of their child. It's like that. The determination and the willpower, how badly you want it, determines it. Some days you have more strength than others, so do not beat yourself up. Some days it's like you have all the willpower and the motivation. And when they do something stupid and you feel yourself being pulled down, you power yourself back up and you keep moving. You keep doing what you need to do. You never give up and you keep going. That's it, and that's all. Getting through gang stalking, as I always say, it's just literally about mastering yourself. It's not about getting other people to stop gang stalking you. It's not about getting other people to realize they're doing anything wrong. It's not about continuously telling people how bad what they're doing is. Like, you can't control people. They know what they're doing is wrong. They don't care. It's about controlling yourself, making sure that you do the things that you're supposed to do, continually pushing yourself, being determined. And like I said, if you have nothing else, it's easier to pray than to continuously find the willpower to do things, because willpower really takes a lot of mental strength. So you got to combine a bunch of things together, and then that will put you in a pretty bulletproof situation. But if you have nothing else and willpower is all you have, then that's what you have to use to continue to push forward and do what it is that you need to do. But you do need to keep moving, because stopping is what they want you to do. And if they get you to stop for a couple minutes, a couple days, you're going to fall into a pattern and a habit. You're going to give up. You're going to be saying, what's the point? The point is that progress is one step at a time. Exactly how you pick yourself up. I would pick myself up from this chair and walk to the door, one step at a time. That's exactly how it works. So nothing different. I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to pull a crystal of the day. So I usually pull these crystal cards and I see what crystal comes out. The majority of the time, the crystals are relevant to what I'm talking about, but sometimes it is just dependent, I guess, on what somebody needs to hear. I gotta cut, this is too many. The other thing that's kind of been on my chest for me to say for the longest time, and it started happening a couple days ago. Somebody here needs to go to the police for their personal safety. Somebody here needs to make a police report. Somebody here needs to give detailed information. It's you know, it's all of it. It's everything. It's like, for me, it's not just working on myself and my own personal goals. Part of what I have to do is to come on here and talk to people. It's not, give me a second. Yeah. Give me a second here. Okay. So, I don't know. This one came out, I'll read it anyway. So this is Moonstone, and it's the crystal of new beginnings. Moonstone, and this is what it looks like. So Moonstone is to do with feminine energy, and it's high to extremely high. This luminous stone is traditionally associated with the moon, fertility, and feminine energy, the waxing and waning of the moon mirroring the ebb and flow of the menstrual cycle. A powerful healer for the female reproductive cycle and menstrual related disease, Moonstone assists with PMS, conception, pregnancy, and birth. Water attuned, this crystal stabilizes fluid imbalances and resets the biorhythmic clock. It also supports the digestive system and promotes the absorption of nutrients from food. Moonstone is helpful for shock, insomnia, nightmares, and sleepwalking. This crystal also calms hyperactive children. In the mind, it stabilizes emotions, reduces instability, prevents overreactions, and soothes stress. And for the spirit, it strengthens intuition and enhances psychic abilities. So it's a stone of new beginnings, and it's crazy how it talks about new beginnings, and it talks about stabilizing your emotion. It talks about assisting with shock, insomnia, nightmares, and sleepwalking. So Moonstone seems to me like a good stone to deal with psychic or spiritual attacks. And then I'm trying to remain consistent about pulling these two cards to close out my lives. I'm going to pull a spirit message card, and my spirit message cards I consider to be messages from spirit. And I just love these cards. I say this every single day. I love these cards and I love what they stand for. So the message of today, it is time to hit the reset button. Clear out the old so that room is available for the new to enter. Trust that better things are coming fast. Prepare to move to the next phase of your life. This is your rebirth. Welcome to this beautiful brand new energy. You've got this. I promise you every card I pull is related. Every card I pull is related to every message that I talk about. And that's why I truly love these cards, because both of these cards that I pulled have to do with new beginnings. So the Moonstone crystal was a crystal of new beginnings, and the spirit card talked about a rebirth and a new beginning. I hope this message gave, if nothing else, encouragement to people out there dealing with circumstances that are unpleasant, circumstances that you feel are hopeless. Just remember, you do not stop in the middle of a difficult cycle. You keep moving. Do not park yourself there, one step at a time. And God really favors that sort of brave behavior. If you are willing to keep going and you are willing to keep moving, then God will step in with you and make your steps bigger and bigger. And before you know it, you're gonna look up and everything is gonna be different and you're gonna be taken care of. I want to send encouragement to everyone. Stay strong, stay firm. You're not the only one going through this. Tons of us have gone and are going through this, however silent. And have a good night. God loves you.